how this is all done. Because they established their sovereignty. And to be a state, because they had a permanent population, they had a territory, they had a government, constitution. They were able to govern and live with, work with other states and people around them. The land allotments didn't come till later. It's another thing. What they're doing is they are changing, they're modifying the clauses. So, this is something that has to be taken care of. Because courts, legislators, and executive officials rarely reach the larger constitutional questions. Because of other circumstances, other issues like the failure to plead for damages or a change in the law, and circumstances frequently prevent the substantive constitutional issues from being reached. It is important to dive into these contentious and unresolved constitutional issues before the issue becomes live. It is crucial to discuss and debate the constitutional issues. If earlier Congresses were wrong in their interpretations, that does not absolve us or them from the duty to obey the plain letter and sense of the Constitution. Now, in any case, Congress admitted acts under circumstances, which makes their use as interpretive points far less valuable. Has it not been already cut against interpreting the consent proviso as modifying clauses? That's what you're essentially doing. So, I would like to secure this for the people. And if you don't want to do it, I would ask why. And I'm just establishing the right to all existing claims and everything connected to the Mohican Nation, the Stockbridge and Munsee Indians, which would be the true legal entity, person, tribe. Therefore, anything else existing or connected to that is not legal. And you can tell these things are added in. Like this Constitution currently, it's 2025 right now. And they're trying to pass it. They're trying to change the Constitution or they got some shit fucked up there, but if they're doing what they've done before, what they're doing is they're trying to update the Constitution so that it fits what they've already been doing. And they're changing it after. See, but how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to try to work their way into the old boundaries or connect them to the original tribe, which they don't have a right to do. What this did when they made the correct enrollment for these people, so it made them, because there was never no citizen. It's already established in the Constitution what a citizen, U.S. citizen is. So it's all just a big mirror. They were worried because of what they did. Is they made themselves enrolled members of a sovereign nation, which you're not supposed to do, because we're working for the federal government and other elected officials, where you can't do, it's clearly defined, you can't do that. So that's what they're trying to hide. No. Let's see, I don't want to get too far into this. I would look into, now this could be the land back deal, because a lot of territories were acquired through this. Also, you can't create a state from another state, which is what they did. So they would have to sell the land to the government so they could sell it. That's how they were doing it. And that's what the Quinny or my family did, was they cut out the government, which screwed them. They went straight to the Menominee, and they got Congress to pass this act, and they slipped it in there. They didn't realize, because they boom, oh yep, we're a sovereign nation, you signed it, so, boom, they start putting it right to work. So they tried to change it after the fact. That's why nothing happened until after John Quinny and Austin Quinny passed, until they were dead. You know, and who knows how they all died, because sometimes it makes me wonder, like there's a large cemetery. It's another thing too, is the cemeteries. The Indian cemetery or the Quinny cemetery. They're like hidden. But I believe that also makes it tax-free. And the allotments were established afterwards. Okay. They rewrite history. I don't even know. If you look into the founding of this country in the States, it's kind of heavily debated that these things were all written well after. It's and they say Native Americans, that the Constitution was based off the Native Americans' form of governing. Well, John Mohican, the dish, Quinny, one who appears long, and Mohican, it's not the last of the Mohicans. Mohicans are lasting forever. So they had to make a movie, because that's the main thing. If you can get support from foreign or outside support and create this image of what you stand for, like the United States does, you get support. So, yeah. They want to say, oh, that democracy and that's why art, music, movies go a long way. Facebook, if you can get it out there, tell your story the way you want. Things like words, like, so if I've seen the Queenie, the name translated to one who appears tall. That limits it. Native Americans didn't use words like we do now. It's like long would be more appropriate, because when you're saying tall, you're limiting it to something that's standing. It would be long would be more appropriate, because then you could associate with time, length, many things, like Connecticut River, right? Long. And the English language has these dummy do's. The English language has these dummy do's. Like don't. There's no point to it. So people of the waters that are never still, kind of like a shitty, in my opinion, I would think that it would be people of the tidal waters, but when you get double negatives, it doesn't make sense. Like Mohican and would be people lasting forever. People here. Now what you're doing with that is you're establishing a permanent population, which is one of the criteria for being part of the to the United Nations, which is very important. This is where people get all this back from. We don't have anyone in the United Nations to represent Native Americans. We used to. Washinuwatuk, I believe. She was killed and assassinated by said guerrillas, which it turns out there was false flag prep. The U.S. government was killing their own people and setting them up and blaming it on guerrillas in Colombia so that they could attack and take over Colombia and put an army there and train soldiers. And they plant guns on them and boost the kill rates, make it look like there was more of a threat, that they were taking all of these people. And it's just fucked up. And that was in the 90s. And that was my family too. She was a civil rights activist. And I believe she was a chairwoman, I want to say, for the United Nations, a seat or something, but I'd look into that. And look in my family history, it's pretty interesting, you know. It's like, wow, maybe that's what I got to do it. Washtenaw with that, and Quinny and Austin Quinny, Washington, John, Mohican, the dish, and then even my grandma said that Chief Oshkosh had a brother too. That was who was in line to be the chief, but they tried saying he wasn't mentally capable of doing it, of holding the position, so whatever that means. His name, Tommy Up, maybe. Tommy Up. I don't know. Thomas Hawk. I don't know. Well, it's interesting. No, I don't know. I've never heard that before. But the thing is, people sometimes are too proud of the lies they've been fed. You know, if you base your whole life off of, we don't know. I don't remember when I was born, and pick back up on this. Next time I'll introduce myself a little bit better.